Hello there, woven web enthusiasts. Today we have a 52-year-old guy that just found out that at least 4 of his 5 kids are not his, and his wife, who is 51, won't talk to him about it. And I might add that this story takes quite a turn at the end, so stay tuned. And he writes under the Need Advice Desperate account in the Relationship Advice subreddit. I met my wife when we were in high school, and we married in college. We have 5 kids together that range from 33 all the way down to 14. And up until a couple of weeks ago, I thought we had the perfect marriage. We were typical high school sweethearts. Today, we still go out together, we rarely fight, and I've never felt our marriage was in any trouble, and never in a million years would I've ever suspected my wife of being disloyal. Now, this all started when my oldest daughter, she's also the oldest of all my kids, recently had an Ancestry test done, and the results of the Ancestry test strongly suggested that I was not her father. She told me this privately, and I could tell that she was visibly upset with this. Of course, the first thing I did was assure her and tell her that she's my daughter and I love her unconditionally. But then we both decided to get an official paternity test done since the Ancestry tests are not completely reliable. So the paternity test comes back, and I am indeed not her biological dad. So the next thing I did, I asked my other kids, except my youngest, who's 14, to come and see me. I wanted to know the extent of my wife's infidelity. If this was a one-off, maybe I could work past it, especially given how long ago it had been. However, I didn't want to tell my youngest that she's still in school, a teenager, and obviously I'm not going to put her through this. So my oldest daughter and I, we tell the other 3 what's happened. I assure them that I love them unconditionally and I'm their dad. But I need to know how long this has been going on. So we have the paternity test done for each of the 3. Not only are none of them my biological kids, together 4 of them have 3 different fathers, which obviously makes it worse. She wasn't just having an ongoing affair, she was having multiple affairs. So I confront my wife with this. I expected her to confess and beg for forgiveness, and she doesn't. She doesn't even take it seriously. She just says the tests are flawed. And I said, all 4? How in the hell am I supposed to take that seriously? Well, I keep bringing it up, and she keeps brushing it off, getting progressively more annoyed at me. And finally, the last time I brought it up, she guilt-tripped at me and said, "We've been together since high school. Do you seriously not trust me?" But how am I supposed to trust her in the face of such overwhelming evidence? So that was the original post, and OP had a lot of questions in the comments, and he edits the post and adds the following. The first question was, how did the Ancestry results suggest I wasn't her father? And OP says, my family is entirely Irish. No relatives outside of Ireland other than my immediate family, and I have even the stereotypical red hair. My oldest daughter's results showed nothing from the British Isles, Western Europe, Northern Europe. And that's when the alarm bells went off. It's by no means conclusive, hence the paternity test. Next question. Which 2 children share the same father? My 2 oldest daughters share the same father. Third question. How did your wife conceive your children? So our oldest daughter was not planned. All the others were planned. Each time we conceived several months after we started trying. Our first 3 planned children were both our ideas, while she pressured me into having our youngest. My wife was in her late 30s and wanted one last child before it was too late, and I eventually agreed. My youngest was conceived several months after we started trying. And the final question they had for OP, are you infertile? He answers, I don't know. I've never had a fertility test done, but the fact that none of our planned children are mine makes me think I could be, and I'm going to have a test done as soon as possible. And at this point, OP feels like the marriage is over, but he's still holding on to a little hope and seeing what his wife will say. And then OP provides this final post, an update to the situation. He writes, I've been debating whether or not to post an update because nothing was ever resolved. My kids and I confronted their mother shortly after making that Reddit post, and it didn't go well. I think the prospect that no one believed her finally hit home because she completely broke down and apologized profusely, but she refused to explain herself or anything that would give me or the kids any peace of mind. And then for the next few weeks, we barely spoke. I was hoping she was thinking it over, and I expected her to eventually set me down and explain herself. I figured she was so far deep in a lie that got out of control, she needed time to think things over and figure out how to present it to me. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. I came home one night to find she'd committed suicide by overdosing. So I lost the love of my life, kids lost their mother, and now the kids and I will never know what mistakes she made. I really wish I could go back in time and forget all about it. Whatever mistakes she made, I honestly wanted to go work through it. And now I'm just riddled with guilt that I pressed her for an answer. And as for me here at Woven Webs, a sad story that ended even worse. The woman made a series of terrible decisions over a period of years, betraying a person that loved her, living a lie. And then when it came time to come clean, own up, apologize, and move on, she couldn't face the music. But listeners, what do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I appreciate you listening.